Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fred Speaks. I pray this podcast finds you in the best of health and spirits. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to take the necessary precautions to wash your hands and wear your face mask during this pandemic. Welcome, friends. This is Fred, the host of Fred Speaks. I am super excited about this episode of Fred Speaks podcast. The topic for this episode is turning pain into purpose. And I was looking at a couple words in the topic, pain, mental or emotional suffering or distress, and purpose, an intended or desired result, end, aim, goal, determination, resoluteness, so having firmness and determination. And in all of our lives, there are moments of darkness and pain, so we can't see our way, and because we're dealing with such mental and emotional suffering. And sometimes that pain seems to be too great to overcome. And I know that feeling very well. But what I've learned is that there is a way to take that pain and use it to discover your true purpose on this earth. There's a way to turn pain into purpose. And here are 3 steps to changing how you think and act during the hardest moments in your life. Step 1 is to validate yourself. And sometimes the worst pain comes from feeling abandoned and unloved. And I was thinking about when you're not in the middle of the pain, it's easy to see how wrong that thinking is. But when you're right in the middle of it, it's hard to think any other way. Or at least it was for me. I felt like the slightest wind could, just take me away and make me disappear. I felt like I was no longer anchored to anything. But over time, and with the help of God, I realized I was wrong. My anchor was and always will be God. The only validation you need is the validation God gives you. I know it is very hard to accept this, particularly when you're feeling terrible pain. But that's how I survived my difficult times. By scratching and clawing, whatever it took, to, get myself back to understanding that God loves me. And, a simple task, and I know that, some may not, find this to be a great revelation, but it's something worth trying. Each morning you can look in the mirror and say out loud, your name, I love you, and God loves you too. You may not feel that way or believe it at first, but say it anyway. And at night, standing in front of the mirror and say it again. Your name, I love you, and God loves you too. I know it sounds too simple, but the purpose is to validate yourself by starting with yourself and God. Slowly, you can begin to change the way you think about yourself. If you're worth something to God, then you're worth something to the world. If God loved you, even in your darkest hour, then how could you not love yourself? And step 2, focus on solutions, not problems. One of the things I did during my most painful days was I would spend a lot of time thinking about my problems. I turned them over and over in my head again and again, focusing on what was wrong. It's very easy to fall into this trap where all you do is worry about your problems and feel sorry for yourself. I know I was guilty of that. It's human nature, I guess. There's no point in assessing about your problems. All that energy and brain power should be focused on a solution. One common daily exercise is to write down the negative and the positive things in your life. Before you reject it, think about the purpose of the exercise. I know in the midst of pain, it's hard to see, let alone write down anything positive in our lives. But hopefully you'll find out that there are more positive than negative things in your life. Do it every day. And what you'll find is that eventually you start focusing on the problems. Your mind begins to focus more on solutions. And step 3, make your life about the future, not the past. It is very hard to let go of your past, and no one knows that better than I do. For years, I held on to my old life, refusing to let go. Letting go of your past is a long, hard process, and for me, that process isn't over yet. In some ways, it's just beginning. Moving on from the pain and troubles of your past takes a lot of time. The past isn't something you can just stick in the microwave and zap it in a minute or two. It takes a lot of effort to put your past where it needs to be, behind you. But here is why it's important that we put in that time and effort, because if we live in the past, we will never discover our destiny. Destiny, promise, potential, purpose, all of these are things that have to do with the future, not the past. If we keep surrounding ourselves with the old bags and boxes of our past, there's no room to bring any new stuff in. We have to clear away the clutter so we can see what God has planned for us next. Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God. It says in 1 Peter, the 5th chapter, the 6th through the 7th verse, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your care upon him because he cares for you. We need to surrender our anxieties to God, surrender our past to God, so that he can exalt us and raise us to a new and better place. Only by living our lives based on the future and not on the past can we allow this exaltation to happen. So work on changing the way you think about what matters in life. Not everything that comes before, but everything that is still to come in God's glory. By following these 3 steps, hopefully, it will help you reach a place of great comfort and peace. It will help you turn the pain into your purpose, which will help lead you to a mind that is clear and ready to listen to God. So I pray that everyone that was listening in was able to get something out of this. Being able to turn the pain into purpose and using the pain as a launching pad to getting to your purpose that God intended for you in this life. So with that, we would like to encourage you to join us for another episode of Fred Speaks.